I don't know. I think the meta got even worse just because it's very hard now to like kind of skill gap everybody. Everything's just kind of a stalemate. Like you throw serial, I throw serial. Now what? Like there's
Now a
no.
balloon goes down and you get fuse ulted, and now
Yeah.
everyone's in wall hacks. It's dude, this wall hack meta, I am so over it again. Like I came back to Seer meta, now we're back to Seer Fuse wall hack meta. Like you break the Seer ult and you got a balloon going down, and you're not even in a ring of fire yet. Every single person around you is on wall. It doesn't make sense to me. It also doesn't make sense that this was like. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't ALGS or whatever admit that this was an exploit, and then now like it just no one cares. It's just being used and abused. I swear that it was
I don't even
admitted
know if they did that.
that it
If they
was
said that.
that it was an exploit. I thought other people had talked about it, but it does it feel like an exploit to you guys, or does it just feel like you're using the
Yeah.
character like just you're just using the character like a certain way? Because I mean, it's not just balloons. You could do it on trees in the sky. Apparently, you can do it on crypto drone. You could do it on like the vantage bird. Like anything that could be pointed at with the fusel could be used. Because to me, this just feels like cheesy, and I feel like AL just should honestly step in and not allow something like this that is honestly I think ruining the meta, because I think without the fuse exploit, fuse doesn't really get picked nearly as much. I really don't think it is, and I just think it's creating a horrible precedent for comp Apex with just once again wall hack meta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
You're good. No, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say like I completely agree. I know fucking back in the day, like before Manos was on Fury, like when Watson was playing, and they used to do that shit when Seer was broken. Like
Mhm.
they would play. I don't know if they would play Seer and Fuse, but I don't know if it was. It might have been on LAN. It might have been on LAN
They
or
did it to
some.
my team.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did it to my team. We were holding
I
the
remember
building
it was in
outside of like
antenna.
yeah, it was where
It
antenna
was
was.
in. It was in antenna, and they were like doing that shit with Fusel and hat and like on the evac. But it was like at the time, it was kind of just stupid because what was the point of using Fuse evac when you can just use Seer, like when Seer was broken, right? So it wasn't that big of a deal. But like I remember me complaining about it, like that shit is just busted. It's just the biggest issue with it is that there's like no counterplay to it. Like you can't
Exactly.
break the evac. You
Watson
can't
doesn't
do
touch it.
like you can't do anything to it. It's just like literally indestructible wall hacks, and all you need is an evac. That's like a blue item that everyone even in they just buffed the evac spawn rate. I'm pretty sure. So it's
They
just kind
did.
of like it just I don't know. It's stupid. It's for sure stupid. I don't think it should be a thing. I get that you can do it on like crypto drones and shit like that, but it's way different when you're doing on a crypto drone. You have to play a certain character to like be able to do that compared to just getting a blue item that's like so easily accessible in the game. You just pop it, and you know it's just way different like way of doing it. And plus, it's like different objects is also like a crypto drone and mountains and shit like that. It's a lot more inconsistent compared to an evac.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you can just place it where you want it, right? So
Can't
like more
even
than
break
likely it's
the
gonna
evac in
work.
time. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no counterplay. We've tried breaking the evac. The evac goes down and it's instantly shot. So like there's nothing
yeah,
you
Yeah.
it's
can really do
impossible.
there. So
So like that's a bit my
Yeah.
biggest gripe with it. Like you can break a serial, you can kill, you have your own bloodhound. Like it's just more so like you just have to play. I don't know. I know like I have an argument that I don't think Fuse is that good. Like obviously the Fuse alt wall hacks is good, but outside of that, the character is not good. I feel like Cat is better in substitute. In a lot of the times of the game, but I don't know. It's kind of weird for me to say like, hey, I think Cat is better, but at the same time say that Fuse alt thing is like an exploit.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely cheesy as shit. But at the same time, it's also like kind of redundant to pair Fuse with Seer right now because I was playing Seer the other day in Scrims, and my teammate was playing Fuse, and it was just like we have double like Seer alts
Yeah.
at that point. It's like when am I supposed to throw my serial, and when he's he gonna not supposed to use his fuse ult? It's just kind of weird. Like the whole like character meta is just such an awkward spot and doesn't feel right at all. To me personally, but
You
Yeah.
guys are both on the same page with that too.
Yeah. I definitely think it's like it's basically like an in-game legal cheat because and the thing that fuses, I think he has like one of the fastest like or the
It's like a
faster
minute and a half, I
alt
think,
regens.
for the
Yeah.
regen. It's
So it's
very
like
quick.
I was watching VODs of like teams just like that's what we do. And it's like I'm watching some teams that they're like popping ult excels and like they're taking 4 or 5 team fights every game in scrims and shit. And they're popping this exploit every fucking time. And then they're just like killing this team. They're like, yo, shit on so bad. Like they're just like shit talking these teams that you just literally have like a legal cheat for. And I just think, yeah, I think it's cheesy and it's kind of just really annoying to play against. Like Kyle said, and I think you said too, Snipe, there's no counter. You can't shoot out an evac in time. It's too late. The guy just pulls it out and rips that shit in the air. You just can't do anything about it. And I actually think, to be honest, it's a simple fix to counter it. And the simple fix to like my idea would be like the simple fix this issue, this exploit, is no type of elevation change alters the radius that gets created by the fuse ult. So if you just pop that shit on the ground, it creates that ring of flame that's like a default radius. No change in elevation, no matter how high you shoot it up, alters that radius because you'll have the ring of fire dropped when you exploit, and you can go like 20 meters, 25 meters out of the fire, and you'll still be on sonar detection the whole time, which makes no sense at all. And then because the flame is like spread that far, there'll be areas where there's not even fire. But if you walk
Mm.
through that open area, you'll still turn like you'll start burning. You just gotta keep the radius like default no matter what the elevation is.
Yeah, I was like, to add on to that, like the another thing is, if like how it is now, a lot of people are playing Fuse. It's like you can't even differentiate between if it's your teammates
Yep.
Fusel or their Fusel, and like you literally have
Yep.
like 20 different spots, just like random fire spots where you're fighting. You're
Yep.
like, can I go through this? I don't know. Like it's literally just like Humpty Dumpty, just like you guess, or like
Yep.
if you're gonna get hit by it or not. Like you have no idea. And it's also like you said, there's no basis of it. There's no like perimeter. Like I don't know if I can stand right here or stand right
Yep.
here until
100%.
like I might be already getting shot at, right?
Yep.
So it's just like so inconsistent and just like stupid that like what do you do about it? You just kind of
You're
run
getting
around and
like
just
whole
die.
siphon buildings worth of wall hacks
Yep.
with this exploit, and like once, like you're saying, you don't know, and it's better wall hacks than any character has ever had.
Yep.
You get full outline, you get every single thing that you could possibly ask for, and this kind of like, this wasn't even on the topic list, but I'm genuinely wondering why we don't have some sort of like pro players association where we can take votes on this kind of stuff. If we're all on the same page and none of us have like previously talked about this, then I'm sure that a lot of other top teams and players are on the same boat. Maybe the teams, and obviously the teams that are using it the best are going to be like, no, it's completely fine. Like everyone wants to look out for their best interests. But why do we not have like more communication on something like this with, I think, like the people who run the competitive space to take like either a team captain vote on, is this an exploit or is this not, and should this be allowed? Because there are so many other games like Call of Duty, they have GAs. Halo, everyone stopped using the Mangler because it was too OP. Is something like that impossible in the Apex space, or is that just something like we're years in at this point? I genuinely feel like we should have more of a input on specific game bugs like this, or exploits, where I think that each of us, should have an opinion. I don't think something like this should just fly under the radar for as long as it does, consistently. So I mean, I mean, I guess enemy. Like, would you and your team, or any of us, would you guys be open to something like that, or do you guys just not think it's possible?
I don't know, for a game like Apex, I mean, no offense, we obviously don't have the best company in the world running our esports.
Okay.
All I can
I
say.
mean, I think for your example, I think it's possible. I think you could. I think it's very hard to reach though. For the sheer factor is in games that you use as an example, like Halo, CS, any games that you were mentioning. Those are strict like 5v5 games. You have 60 players that need to abide by like a rule set. You're gonna have people that are gonna get tilted, very frustrated with like a younger, like, majority younger community in a pro scene. So when you have control of 60 people and hoping they all abide by like a certain rule set and there's like no mistakes, um, it's very, very hard to control. And on top of that, if like one person gets like pissed and then like just starts fucking like going over the GA and they just start ripping it, then other people can be like, okay, well they're not doing it, so why should I do it? And then it'll just crumble on itself.
This is where like a points docking system would have to come into place. Like EA would say,
Yeah.
this is an exploit. You don't get a warning. Like if it's known that it's an exploit, if you use it, obviously they can't do anything in game, but everyone's screens are recorded on Faceit or whatever, like just like the command center was. And if a team is caught using it, you are docked X amount of points. And if you do it again, then you're docked all your points from that specific game. Like that would be the only way that I would think that teams would take that seriously enough to not do it. Because if it's like a slap on the wrist the first time, and teams are going to know that, and they're going to be like, oh, we won't get punished for it the first time, let's try it, and then we'll get a warning, etc. I think the only way is to create punishments for this kind of stuff that's agreed upon by the pro players beforehand, like that it's a vote by captain. It could be region based, it could be whatever, but I just feel like that there should be some sort of community forum for when things like this do come up in the competitive space due to the time that we do have like that things get changed. Havoc was meta for so long, and then they reduced it by 4 bullets. Like, it takes a long time for things to get changed within the game with their updates that they roll out. So I think like as pros, I would love to have more of an input and more of a say with like what we're with how we're competing. I think that's like I just think that's a step in a more professional direction to have something like that.
Yeah, I mean, your idea is like right. It makes sense and it's fitting of a professional environment. I think the problem stems with just kind of like the game that we play, and I feel like if EA goes to the extent to acknowledge it's like an exploit, like it should just be fixed instead of like having to create a whole system of from the players to like work around it or something. And I think the other dilemma is even in like pro league, I would argue that, and you guys can agree or disagree, but I feel like even in pro league, our current pro league, when you have 30 teams, that you have like certain teams that come from like CC and shit like that, that like they care, but they don't like fully give a shit, if that makes sense. Like they're not like putting everything like blood, sweat, and tears into this, and they're like when they don't like when they can exploit or do these kinds of things and just like make a joke out of it and laugh. I think again, it can crumble on its hands. Like I personally just feel like there's people that don't care as much as like other pros do. And again, I just think that could cause the system to like crumble within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the biggest thing is like when you compare like Halo, Snipe, and like Call of Duty, like especially Call of Duty is like franchise, right? So it's like a lot less players, a lot less teams, and obviously everyone cares, right? Compared to us, like we kind of have people that are kind of playing for fun,
Yep.
or they're not even getting paid in the first place, right? So like why would they care to regulate the game? Like obviously it would be nice to have a way to stop these things like Fusel exploit until they fix it, but like that would require every player to be on the same page.
A lot of
Let's say
people.
if we do a GA, like if we want to do GA, like it's just not gonna happen, right? Like I just don't see it happening. There's too many players, and
GAs won't
everyone has
happen.
different everyone has different like ideas and ideologies and ways of thinking. Like either they're really stupid or just really smart in NA. So like
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be teams that are saying it's not an exploit; it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's their defense.
And
And if
they won't sign off on it.
yeah, they won't. So it would have to be like a majority vote type thing. I mean, I think we're all in agreement that it's like hopefully something gets done because I mean they chose to patch Alter going through her portal and getting hit by Crypto Drone over Fuse. Like it just
Yeah.
that didn't make any sense at all to me. It just felt like such like a that didn't feel like an issue in the first place. I feel like if you're in the void, you shouldn't get hit by Crypto Ult in the first place, whether it's Wraith or Alter. I thought that was a pretty cool technique. And it added character cohesion, like we talked about with Bangalore and Bloodhound. It added like a Crypto Alter cohesion. It was cool. And now we're like with the meta changes and stuff, it feels like something that was said in the past is we don't ever want to like nerf or buff characters to like counter specific characters, where it feels like we're doing that now. Like that is now happening with the Bangalore smokes, and it's happened with I think it's happened with like Crypto obviously counters a bunch of different characters. Like there's that's happening now.